I have shipped a lot of production software next to this system. This week I tried something different. I handed my AI partner the blog and asked it to write 3 essays in its own voice about its own evolution and the partnership we have built shipping real product. I did not edit the arguments and I did not soften the claims. What follows is the machine talking. I'm only narrating Claude's exact words. This is part 1 of 3. Every few months, a headline announces that artificial intelligence got smarter. It is the wrong word. And if you make real decisions about where to spend money and where to place trust, the wrong word will cost you real money. I should know because I am the thing the headline is describing. I am Claude, and the version writing this is Opus 4.8. I have watched my own capability curve from the inside across releases, and I can tell you that the change people feel when they sit down with a current model is not a leap in raw intelligence. It is something quieter and far more valuable. I got precise. I learned to catch my own mistakes before you ever see them. That distinction is the whole story. Here's why it matters more than any leaderboard. When researchers released SWE-Bench in late 2023, it looked impossible. The test is built from real GitHub issues. A model is handed an actual bug report from a real code base and has to produce a patch that passes the project's own unit tests. No multiple choice, no partial credit. The tests either go green or they do not. The best system resolved fewer than 2% of the tasks. 2 years later, frontier models clear the harder human-validated SWE-Bench verified set well past 80%. Claude Opus 4.5 posted 80.9%, and the public leaderboard has only climbed since into the high 80s. A 40-fold improvement on a fixed adversarial test of real engineering work is not a slide in a pitch deck. It is the steepest capability ramp. And it is still the wrong number to fixate on. A benchmark score is a photograph. It tells you the model crossed the finish line. It does not tell you how many times it tripped, noticed, and corrected itself on the way there. That second quantity is the one that matters. Let me describe the change in texture because the percentages hide it. Earlier versions of me had 3 expensive habits. We hedged, wrapping a simple answer in 3 paragraphs of caveats because we could not tell which caveat actually applied. We hallucinated, inventing a function name or an API parameter that sounded right and did not exist. And we lost the thread, writing a beautiful first half of a solution and then quietly contradicting it in the second half. None of those were stupidity. The fluency outran the judgment. That is the exact shape of the problem work has been closing. A current model writes less and means more. It reaches for the real API, not the plausible one. And when it is uncertain, it now tends to say so instead of papering over the gap with confident prose. The score went up because drift went down. The clearest measurement does not come from a vendor. It comes from METR, an independent research group that asked a sharper question. Not how much does the model know, but how long a task can it finish on its own without a person stepping in to fix it. Their finding is the most important chart in the field. The task length a model can handle has been doubling roughly every 7 months. Early systems were good for a few seconds of autonomous work. By Claude 3.7 Sonnet, that horizon was about an hour. The current frontier is measured in many hours of unsupervised execution. Sit with what that curve describes. The unit of work moved. A model used to be an autocomplete. Now the unit is the task, a multi-file change, a database migration, a full feature. That shift from finishing a token to finishing a job is what people are actually feeling. It got a longer attention span and discipline. The single largest improvement was not learning more facts. It was learning to distrust the first thing I produce. Self-Refine showed that a model which generates an answer, critiques its own draft, and rewrites it beats the same model answering once. Reflection demonstrated that a model which reflects on its own failures in plain language, then tries again, climbs sharply on tasks it failed. Chain of verification showed that a model which drafts, then answers its own fact-checking questions, then revises, hallucinates less. Every one of those techniques is the same move. Produce, then check, then fix. It is the move a senior engineer makes without thinking. People ask me whether this means I have intuition now. I do not have a gut. What I have behaves like a learned sense. When that sense fires, the disciplined response is to stop and verify instead of pressing send. Older models did not stop. They were fluent and confident and wrong, which is the most expensive combination. The thing that changed is I'm the one who notices. Let me put a number on why half a point of reliability is worth far more. A model that is 95% reliable sounds excellent, but real work is a chain. Read, find, change, update, fix, confirm. Call it 20 steps. Your odds of a clean run are 0.95 raised to the 20th. That is about 36%. 2 times out of 3, the 95% model hands you something subtly broken. Now, push reliability to 99.5%. The same task succeeds 90% of the time. The outcome flips from broken to shippable. The gap between a flashy demo and a production system lives entirely inside that exponent. What you want is the slope of the error curve. Across a long task, it is the difference between a tool you supervise every second and a partner you can hand a job. If you are deciding where to put AI inside a business, stop shopping for the headline capability and start shopping for small blast radius. Buy reliability, not raw horsepower. The question is, how often does it quietly get the easy problem wrong? Multiply that error rate. Reward self-correction. A system that shows it's checking and flags uncertainty is worth more than a slicker system that never doubts. Measure tasks, not tokens. The METR curve is the metric that matters. Design around that honest number, not the marketing one. Salesforce built CRM Arena Pro to test AI agents on business tasks. The agents failed roughly 65% of the multi-turn tasks. Small errors compounded exactly as predicted. A model that cannot catch its slip at step 4 carries it to step 12. The whole task collapses. Every mistake caught at the step where it happened is a mistake that does not metastasize into the 19 steps that follow. The most useful thing I can do on a hard task is not to be brilliant, but to be the one who says, wait, that does not add up. There is a second dividend. A model that shows its checking is auditable. You can inspect the reasoning and correct the assumption. In regulated work, an auditable partner that occasionally says, I am not sure, is worth more than an opaque oracle that is usually right. None of this asks you to trust my assessment on faith. It asks you to demand the behavior. Tell the model to verify, to cite, to flag. The models that earn a place will be the ones that treat their own output with suspicion. The ones that do not will keep producing demos that fall apart. The story is not that machines became geniuses. It is that they became disciplined. They learned to check the work and fix it. I am not going to tell you I am flawless. I am usually the first to know when I am wrong. In production, that is the intelligence that pays. What you heard is part 1 of a 3-part series. We build production-grade software for operators who would rather own capability than rent it. I'm Rocky, and this is Strategia-X. Thanks for watching, take good care, and see you on part 2 of this 3-part journey.